Jules Somerset stopped with his hand on the St. Lake's diner door. He sniffed as if he were one of his shifter siblings. He didn't need their superior senses to recognize the lavender and burning wax deliciousness that entered his soul. He rubbed at the sudden ache in his chest and closed his eyes. Their scents followed him around like candle smoke. He couldn't get away from them, and he wanted to. By the gods, how he wished for them to leave him alone. And yet, the longing burned his gut. The desire hit him even harder when the hairs on the back of his neck stood up. The feeling of being watched wrecked him in familiar ways. It took him back into his past, until a familiar level of panic blossomed in his chest. It tightened like a fist around his lungs and squeezed. He let go of the door handle when someone from inside stood in front of it. They had an irritated look on their face, which didn't do anything to help Jules fight the panic attack. When he stepped to the side, they exited without giving him a cursory glance. The attacks were as familiar as a best friend, one that was narcissistic and persistent with its selfish agenda. But he still maintained a friendship with Panic that would likely never fully die. If Dr. Tucker were standing next to him, he'd tell Jules he had all the resources needed to push the panic down. He leaned against the blue windbreaker surrounding the front of the diner, letting his backpack fall from his shoulder to the wet sidewalk. He breathed as deeply as he could through his nose, letting it out through his mouth, repeating the process. He whispered the things Dr. Tucker had told him to say to himself. Dr. Tucker called it an internal dialogue, but Jules found it helpful to say the words aloud. I have a family who loves me. I'm a Somerset now. Above all this panic attack bullshit. The last sentence he added himself. One day it would be true, but only if he said it often enough. I'm not alone. My past has meaning because I've learned from it. No one has power over me because I refuse to give it to them. I am... The bell above the diner door dinged open, and Sage stuck his head out. You okay? Strong. Jules opened his eyes, nodding his head even as he smiled at Sage. Yeah. He took one more deep breath, picked up his backpack, and moved toward the door. Sage stepped back, allowing him to enter. Panic attack? Sage asked as Jules brushed by him. Yeah, Tommy and Hacen are following me again. Sage let the door go, making his way behind the long counter that covered the entire left side of the restaurant. The diner perpetually smelled like coffee and French fries. It didn't matter if they were serving breakfast or dinner either. Maybe it's time you talk to them. Jules set his backpack at his feet and sat on one of the stools. Maybe it's time that they take no for an answer.